And good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Today is Friday, 31st of May 2013. This also marks today being the 2 weeks that we've got until Man of Steel is released in cinemas pretty much almost everywhere. This is just a video just to talk about what we're looking forward to, obviously, what I'm looking forward to myself, the early developments, you know, how the cast and crew got put together, just basically everything from when the movie was announced pretty much to as it's about to get, you know, released. So we all remember sometime back in 2010 it was first announced that Christopher Nolan was going to oversee the production of a new Superman movie. Information back then was so sketchy that as soon as the name Christopher Nolan was mentioned, people started to wake up, you know, and listen and thought, okay, Christopher Nolan producing a Superman movie, this will be interesting. And straight away everybody, you saw all the usual comments, people saying, oh, it's going to be so dark, it's going to be like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, blah blah blah. You know, it hadn't even been given a title already or anything, so everyone was already giving it their own theories that never actually occurred, never in the end actually happened. So when that was announced, and then eventually it became official that yes, Nolan was coming on board as a producer only, that the title of the film was going to be Superman, Man of Steel. They hadn't actually finalised the actual title back then. Then I think at first it was Zack Snyder was announced as being the director. When that one happened, that was fun. I remember that. I mean, everything I'm discussing so far, I have done videos about them. You know, Christopher Nolan being producer, Zack Snyder announced as the director. So, and other stuff. You know, when Henry Cavill was cast, Hans Zimmer doing the music. So, pretty much already done videos on them. So you can find them on my YouTube channel and have a look at them. Some things that there were videos that I had done where I wanted certain actors to play certain characters, like I wanted Rosenbaum to play Lex Luthor, given how well he portrayed that character in Smallville. I got an epic backlash for that one. You'll understand why. But then also I said what I wanted from the film, you know, action above most things, besides the story. I did say that whilst it was going to be an origin, I didn't want it to focus too heavily on the origin, that, you know, a lot of people were already aware of Superman, where he was from, who he is, all that sort of stuff. Let's just kick right in when he's, like, you know, in his mid to late 20s or early 30s, and, you know, he's already fully established as a character. Let's just get right into it, this, that and the other. So even then, we had no idea what the story was. We didn't know what the film was going to be about. So when Snyder was announced, Nolan was announced, and then even sometime after Cavill was announced, and, you know, I still said this is what I want from the movie. What I would like to see, who in terms of villains, you know, Brainiac, Darkseid, not have Lex Luthor, you know, all about real estate. If you want Lex Luthor in there, make him the evil Lex Luthor that we're all familiar with in the comics, you know, how he wants to destroy Superman's reputation, bring him down to his knees, and, you know, make him look like he's part of an alien invasion in front of the humans, all that sort of stuff. So many things that I wanted to come out of this, and as more and more information came out, and as I say, after Henry Cavill was cast, and then Amy Adams was cast, and obviously Michael Shannon, there's more and more big names. I mean, Kevin Costner, as soon as he was cast as Jonathan Kent, I think everybody agreed that they said, you know what, he's a good fit for Jonathan Kent. And then you had Russell Crowe cast as Jor-El, Diane Lane as Martha Kent. You've got, I'm trying to pronounce her name properly, I think it's Anya or Antje Trau, okay, who's playing Fiora. And then you've got Ayelet Zura, who's playing Lara Lorvan as well. And then Lawrence Fishburne. I think I remember when Lawrence Fishburne was cast as Perry White, I did a video about that where I was like very dubiously skeptical about Fishburne playing Perry White, And I think it was more, well, not just only to do with the fact that, you know, Lawrence is black, but it was just, I sort of looked, I was like, Lawrence Fishburne is Perry White. But we've seen some of the pictures, we've even heard Lawrence actually talking in a TV spot as well. And I actually then I thought to myself, you know, as time goes on, it's going to grow on me. And I think so far, you look at the cast, as I say, you've got Henry Cavill, who is virtually an unknown, unless you've watched The Tudors, and if you've seen the movie Immortals as well, you'll know exactly who he is. Amy Adams, already we know, is a big name star, couple of Oscar nominations under her belt. Kevin Costner, no introduction needed. Russell Crowe, same thing, a couple of Oscars under his belt as well. Lawrence Fishburne, there's another big name there. Diane Lane as well, massive big name right there. So, you know, these are epic characters right there. And of course, we've got to give big props to Michael Shannon as General Zod. I mean, I remember when General Zod was announced as being the villain for the film, everybody threw their arms up in the air. They were like, oh my god, why do we have to have Zod again? And then everyone was like, why do we need a new origin movie if it's already been done? It's like, well, no, we've only had one origin movie, which was Superman the movie. Everything else after that was pretty much a continuation, including Superman Returns, which was a homage that Bryan Singer was paying to both Donner and Reeves, you know, to what they did back in the 70s and the 80s. So, and yes, whilst we've had General Zod already, we don't know what the story is, we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know the plot, we don't know the concept or anything about the film. Then as details started to come through a bit more about the synopsis and all that sort of stuff, people started to think, right, what's the film going to be based on? And obviously I remember hearing that it was going to be partly based on Superman Birthright, and back then, this was, I think, early 2011, back then I had no idea I've never even read Birthright, and I've read it a few times already, and you know, I actually love the story. But it's not just Birthright that it's going to be based on. There's also Earth 1, Volumes 1 and 2. You've got Superman Secret Origin, the Superman Brainiac, Superman Lost Son, Superman Red Son as well, the Death and Return of Superman. There's a whole host of comic books that they're borrowing from. And there has been a number of set interviews that have been released on the internet in the last couple of days. And one in particular was from Superhero Hype. And I remember reading a little snippet from it. It's a very long set interview, by the way. This was from way back in 2011. A number of internet-based journalists were invited to the set at Plano in Illinois, which was doubled as Smallville, and they couldn't report anything back then. This was in August 2011. Nothing. They couldn't say anything. They were sworn to absolute secrecy up until now. So now all the details have been released. You know, about their findings and their interviews with Cavill, Snyder, and Amy Adams, and a few other characters as well who are going to be in the film. So, you know, and there was a snippet, I think, from Goya himself, who basically said that we didn't pick the villains first. We picked the story. Okay, because it was between him and Nolan. It was whilst they were writing the script for The Dark Knight Rises, and they had a writer's block at this point. And I remember reading the interview where Goya basically said that Nolan approached him a few days later and said, right, have you got any further forward with the story for Dark Knight Rises? And Goya said, well, no, I haven't, but I've got this regarding Superman. Can you have a read of it? You know, Nolan read it and he was like, fuck man, this is actually quite good. What the hell have you been doing? Sent it to Warner's, and literally straight away, that was pretty much when they decided, right, let's get this movie made, let's do something, let's kick this off, you know. And as I say, Goya basically has explained that the villains were chosen after the story itself. So, you know, they looked at him and Nolan both looked at the story that they both devised and thought, right, this is what we're going for. This is what we're hoping to happen. Who can we have as a villain? What villain would fit this environment? This particular story. What villain do you think we can use on here? And Goya basically said that as far as they could tell, Zod was the one that was a perfect fit, and that's why they've gone for Zod. So whilst there will be nods to the previous movies, although Snyder has said that they're not making out, they're not borrowing from all the old movies, from Superman 2 and stuff like that. Everything that they're gonna use for the film is all from the comics. So again, remember that whilst if you're watching Man of Steel and you think, right, oh, that reminds me of this particular segment from Superman the movie, yes, it will, but also remember that the prime source is the comics. That's where they've come from, and it's the same thing that's what Donner did for Superman movie and Superman 2 as well, is that he also lent from the comics but gave his own version at the same time, and that's the same thing that Snyder and co are also doing as well. So so as I say, you know, what I want from the movie is not just a lot of action, because I want action from the trailers and some of the TV spots that I've seen already. It looks like it's going to live up to that, but there's going to be a story, there's going to be emotion, it's going to be in depth. We're going to really tackle this is going to be like the proper true origin of some sort, you know, the movie version of something like Superman Secret Origin or Superman Birthright, all put together, you know. So think of all the popular Superman books, all the popular Superman comics that you've read over the years. You're going to see pretty much all of them depicted on screen. It's going to be massive, basically. What does this also mean for like future sequels and such things like that? Well, a lot is riding on this movie, that much is for sure. Warners are really making sure that this movie is going to do for them what kind of Avengers, well, not Avengers, I mean more Iron Man did for Marvel in 2008. So yeah, you know how well Marvel have performed already, but this, I think, is going to be the gateway, the platform, as I've been saying for the past few years already on video. You know, that Man of Steel needs to be the platform for Warner Brothers and DC to kick off a Justice League movie, or produce a sequel or two from Man of Steel as well. So apparently DC are saying that they've got a massive announcement coming up at San Diego Comic-Con later on this year in July, obviously. So we'll see what that's about. And of course, you know, seeing all the pictures and all the promotional press and whatnot, and I've seen a lot of people's comments as well so far. Then the positivity is just amazing so far. Yes, you do have your purists and your people who are still old school who say, oh, I don't like the look of the new costume, or Henry Cavill doesn't really fit the persona well. Well, maybe not for you, but for those of us who are really looking forward to it, as far as I'm concerned, Henry Cavill is this generation's Superman. Okay, he is going to carry the character further and higher than ever before. You know, I still hold Christopher Reeve to my heart as being the best Superman that I've seen, you know, on screen. But I do feel that Henry Cavill is going to make it his own version, which is how it should be. He's not portraying Christopher Reeve. He's not portraying another version of Superman that's been done before. He has focused solely on, you know, he's read the comics. He has concentrated on the comics itself, because he has said that is Superman's true origin. That's the true source of Superman, because, you know, if it wasn't for Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, we wouldn't have what we have today. You know, superheroes would not exist without those two. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm off to Metropolis next Wednesday. Can't wait. So when I get back, as I say, be hanging around in London for a couple of days for the to meet and greet, hopefully, the cast and crew when they're entering for the premiere. And then when I get back in Newcastle, I'll be set for the film's release. I am quite gutted, to be perfectly honest, in that Warner's will not be releasing any midnight releases, or showings rather, here in the UK. So Warner's, you do realise that you have consumers, or customers rather, outside of the United States of America. If you wanted this movie to have a real impact, if you'd have done a midnight showing, oh my god, I don't think you'd realise the magnitude of how much money you could seriously have made from midnight showings, not just in America, but here as well in the UK and other parts of the world. You know, you've missed out. You've basically missed out. I mean, look, Marvel have done it, Paramount have done it as well with Star Trek Into Darkness. Flipping Universal did it with Fast and Furious 6. We had Fast and Furious 6 a week before America, we had Star Trek Into Darkness a week before America, and we had Iron Man 3 a week before America. You know, what's wrong, Warners? What are you doing? Why are you being so ignorant? You know, I'm not saying we should get it a week beforehand, I would have preferred it to be in line with the 7 p.m. showings that are taking place on the 13th of June. We could have had a midnight showing at roughly the same time, but you've pretty much missed out. You've let this guy down, that's for sure, and you've let a lot of other Superman fans who've been so looking forward to this movie, and I will be seeing it obviously on the opening day. I think I might actually be going for 4 showings, not 3. We'll see nearer the time. But you could have had something there, Warner's. You know, it was there for taking. You've missed out. You're not allowing, you know, certain cinema outlets to have these midnight showings and such. It's no, you can't be protective of things like that. You know, you're talking about one of the biggest, possibly one of the biggest movies this summer or for the whole year, and you're protecting it like it's your own little baby, which is fine. That's no problem there. But we're nearing the release, and no midnight showings in the UK. Nah, I'm sorry, mate. That's just wrong. But anyway, as I say, on a high note, I'm going to finish on a high note and just say that I cannot wait for the movie. I can't wait to see what it's going to contain. While I've seen a lot of TV spots, I'm not watching any more. I've had enough. Apparently there's like 11 TV spots. I've only seen probably 6 or 7. I'm not seeing any more. But I'm looking forward to what this film is going to have. Looking forward to seeing what Zack and Chris and Goya have put together. Cavill as Superman, he does look awesome in the suit. Adams as Lois Lane, Fishburne as Perry White, Costner, Crow, Shannon, you know, Christopher Maloney obviously as Colonel Hardy as well. It's going to be fun. I really cannot wait. So yeah, it'll be brilliant. But anyway, as I say, 2 weeks to go. Can't wait. Thank you all for watching. See you all later. Bye.